Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor, and we are live in the morning over here in Tampa, Florida. I wanted to try and do some earlier streams where I can really get together with you guys earlier, go through the day, and collect all of our notes. I may also be clipping some of these reports to put out there later, because I've had a lot of you request that sometimes it's hard to watch all these live streams. But I want to give a place where we can build a community here, go through all the stuff, all the information, try and make some facts, try to debunk some other things, and break down the latest updates that we're hearing on this case, because I know we're still very invested in this, and I want to go through maybe what you guys have missed, give you a place to find where we can break down all the news for you. All right, so today we have a lot of new news that's coming in. No, just to be clear, there's no major big breaking news on the search for Brian. It's still all grasping to find where he's at. The FBI has still not confirmed any of the photos that we see out there. We're still speculating on a lot of these images, the one in Canada, a lot of this stuff that a lot of us are like, is that even him? I wish we could get a couple of those photos just confirmed of like, do the feds think these people are realistic? Because I hate speculating on some of these photos, like we did that deer cam photo for the longest time that a lot of you still are, that has already been debunked. So the goal here is to try and break down as much information we can, and at points throughout the show we will be taking your calls live as well, so you guys can get involved. And also, if you haven't already seen or been involved in our streams, we have a new email, Popcorn Planet Team. Please start sending emails there instead of the old ones, because that way Steph and I can go through and start gathering all your evidence together, tips, and go through. We'll be sort of triaging the stuff that comes through to help us leading our quest and other reports and things that we're prepping for the weeks to come. So thank you guys for being here. There's the main story that I want to get to is a video I already dropped. And if you haven't yet watched it, I hope you do, and I hope you share it. I wanted to put that out first because this one really was triggering for me. This one really upset me, and I think it's important that I'm going to just pop this up here so you guys know what I'm talking about. We're going to go through it again here in more depth in a longer stream as sort of promised in that video, because I feel like it's important to really break down this. This isn't like new news on the search for Brian, but I feel like this is really important news on gathering the proper accountability for what went wrong and why didn't we do better. I watch this footage or hear this audio, and then I start watching the body cam footage again, and for me it changes everything. And here it is on screen, and we have Steph as well. I meant to say hello, Steph, before we get to all this. Steph, the Alternerds, here on regular UK England times. Let's hear your regular voice, Steph.
Hey up, everyone. How's it all going?
Oh my God.
It's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's all groovy here.
It's so weird to hear you with a regular voice. I'm like, who is this?
I know. Who am I again? What's going on? Yeah, this is my regular voice. Hey up, everyone.
She has a regular voice. See, an earlier time allows us to get Steph in at regular voice decibels, and so excited to do this. So go support Steph. She did a great stream yesterday. She's been streaming over on her channel, so go support Steph, the Alternerd, good friend of mine, and doing a lot of homework for me and also for her own channel. So I appreciate all you guys who've been supporting us. All right, so Steph, you saw the video I just posted, which was pretty shocking. I mean, I hate to keep using that word, but I feel like this video was pretty shocking. This audio that came out from the Utah the dispatch, to me, is really jarring, because for the first time it really sort of confirms that they knew, and it seems like they are sort of avoiding wanting to admit that. Did you get that same vibe?
Yeah, and it completely changes everything in terms of how we actually view the Utah dash cam incident now. How the cops actually knew beforehand what the state of play was, but didn't actually act on that when they got to the scene. I'm very, very confused as to why that happened. Why he wasn't questioned more, in the sense of, look, we've got this audio dispatch that's telling us one thing, you're telling us another, mate. What the deuce is going on here? There's a little bit of a disconnect here. Gabby's in the van completely crying. I'm pretty much on the verge of a nervous breakdown. Like, there should have been more questions, but instead it seems like the cops just rocked up, saw Brian fed them, and they were like, give us more, please. We're just going to take it, roll over, and not question a damn thing you're saying, because we can't be bothered. whatever, my conspiracy, my opinion, my whatever there.
Yeah, and just so we're clear, we did post this video already, so a lot of you play the clip, guys. Relax. We're here to talk, and this is the live format where we can sort of get a little bit more in depth on these topics, and that's the point. And I want to make sure we talk longer on this because I did make a video I just posted in the comments. You can go find the video we posted here on Popcorn Planet, the more concise version where we play the audio and I play the follow-up body cam footage because I think the juxtaposition is key. And look, I'm not one to try and jump and cancel and fire people from their jobs. I just think these officers have some explaining to do. There needs to absolutely be repercussions to this, and we need to take accountability, not just for, oh, well, it's over, what can we do now? This doesn't help. No, help future people they pull over or speak to, or any officers in that department. This was not handled correctly, and it's imperative that we actually learn the warning signs and how to better handle these things moving forward, and figure out why this dispatch audio was ignored, because it's terrifying to know that they, and now I can say the words because when we're live I sort of don't care. I can limit these videos, but when I make those standalone videos I have to sort of edit and be careful about what I say because YouTube as a platform doesn't let the video get shared. And a lot of people, Steph, they're always like, oh, Andy, you're trying to monetize things. Well, of course, every news outlet monetizes on things. We have to keep the lights on to keep the reporting going for you so we can devote all our time doing this and, print it for you. But I don't care about the money in this story. I want to make sure the story gets shared. And YouTube doesn't share videos unless they get paid, guys, is what the reality is. And so you have to remember, Google as an entity and the platform that I'm on, where I have you guys as an audience, if we don't feed that beast, you think they're going to share a limited video that they're telling you they can't put advertisers on? Or are they going to share the next video from Jimmy Fallon that they're going to get more attention on? That's the problem with these platforms. They don't always want to share the stuff, and that's what it's a complicated topic that I hate to keep talking about money and all these things, but it's important you guys understand why when I complain about videos getting limited, it's not about money, it's about reach. Like I want these videos and these stories to get out there so we have the right information and we can get the proper accountability, because right now they are doing an investigation on these officers, but I'm glad this came out because I think we do need to get a little louder to say, yo, how did this get caught? And also, Steph, before I'm going to play the video. I'm just also letting some more people get in the room. The other thing that's really frustrating is how many witnesses are there? Why can't they confirm this and nip this, like just put this to bed? Because when this first came out, Brian Enton, who's a great reporter on this, and we're going to play a couple of his reports as well today to update you on things. When he first said it, he put out the witness report. And because it said Chris or Christopher was the last name or whatever, he even said, this is the same witness, Chris. However, later, when he got some flack for that, he's like, well, I actually then followed up and I spoke to Moab Police. It's a bit complicated. They explained that Grand County Dispatch took the 911 call. Moab Police took the witness statement. Two different entities. Police could not tell me whether it is the same person or not. They say the only way to figure it out would be to compare the records. The problem is the records from both entities are redacted. In the 911 call, they silenced the last name, and in the police report, they redacted the last name. So at this point, I don't think there is a way to know for sure. So we don't know if this is the same person who called 911 that made the report where he didn't mention being, Brian hitting Gabby. He just said, Gabby was kept out of the car and Gabby was trying to get into the car. It seemed like they had a fight. And then the 911 call made it very clear that he was hitting her. And that's where everyone sort of started going, whoa, whoa, whoa. What's the difference here, right? Why are we, if Brian was hitting her and that's the report that came in, you got to go to that crime, that scene a little bit more carefully to ensure that the person being hit isn't covering up said hit or, emotionally abused or just afraid to be honest, right, about their abuser who's sitting right there and she has to get back in a van with and doesn't know what to say and doesn't want to come forward. These are all big questions that the officer should have had knowing, speaking to them. So all of that sets this up because now we have this dispatch audio, which again indicates that the Moab officers were told Brian Laundrie was hitting Gabby Petito before the traffic stop. And this is imperative. And again, all this rambling is important because this changes things, guys. And so let's play the video. I have it here. Let's play the audio. We might play this a couple more times as more people get in because I really want to get the word out on this. And I wanted to spread out this report and go a little bit more in depth because this is a very important part of the puzzle in making sure we get accountability for these officers who, let's be honest, could have saved Gabby's life if they had been more aggressive in trying to protect her instead of putting Brian up in a hotel room to get a shower and cool down. You know what I mean? That's where things get really scary and sad when you really break this down. So this is really important. And this evidence that dropped last night, I want to go through with you. So here's the audio. And apologies, it's edited here. I'll tell you what they're saying. It's very clear. The subtitles are there.
At CPA, do you have a phone number for the RP, maybe your still landline, and a location where
Where the victim's at?
Phone number is name's. I'm not sure where it's at, but the female who got they both
hit.
The male and the female both got into the van and headed north. Continuing attempt to locate, time lapse of about probably 40 seconds. RP states seen a male
hit
a female
domestic.
He got into a white Ford Transit van, has a black ladder on the back, Florida plate of. The van turned right onto Main Street from Moonflower Market and headed north onto Main Street.
Now, and Steph verifies as well. Moonflower Market is where they ran into the other women who were murdered. I think we're breaking down that story, but I know the Moonflower Market has a connection to that. That's a whole separate side topic, but still, there's something there that we'll be reporting on them later. But again, let's echo that. The female who got hit, the male and the female both got in the van and headed north. He makes it very clear on multiple instances here. And this is the dispatcher, reading back the story. So
phone number is the female. Both got into the van and headed north. He got into a white.
Sorry, I'm trying to pause on this so you can see it. RP states they have seen a male hit a female domestic, as in like domestic dispute, domestic DV, domestic violence. This changes everything, because now we know the officers, the dispatch told the officers before they got there. So the officers know this now, and I don't think this is the officer we're about to watch next, because I've connected this to the body cam tape, because the timing of all this is crucial. This is the timing of this is at 16:42. Okay, so 4:42 for American time, not military time. That's when this audio was recorded based on all the press and it's out there. Body cam starts recording at 16:44. So 2 minutes later, guys. So 2 minutes later, the body cam footage starts. And I want to watch this body cam footage again, because the guy who's in the body cam, I don't know what his officer is. We're going to call him body cam officer. But the body cam officer, I don't believe that's who's on the phone to dispatch. I think it's the other guy who comes later and sort of steps in and feels like he knows the case already. So I'm very confused. And he's the one who later says, yeah, the witnesses says he didn't get hit. I have so many questions as to, well, what happened? Did the story change? All of this is very important for us to understand. How did you ignore a 911 call and the dispatch telling you that this woman was hit? How that's a huge piece of evidence that would change everything. But now, no, the witness says, yes, we saw Gabby being hit by Brian. And then now watch this. I want to play this again.
Driver is showing some obscure driving, possibly intoxicated. Currently doing 45 miles an hour. Zone through here is 25. Oh! Subject just hit the curb.
Now, this is important. This guy's speeding. This guy is speeding down the road. See, now the sirens hits a curb where the officer even goes, whoa! After already speeding, this guy is following a dispute about a domestic assault where there's the witness has said, a witness not involved has said, I saw him hitting her. And now he's speeding down the road and driving erratically. I can't even imagine what's going on in that car, Steph, but I imagine it's a lot of screaming from both parties. Clearly a lot's going on. They were in the heat of a fight. She's been hit. I'm assuming maybe then that means she's been hit before, and maybe now she's started to hit him back. And this is a clearly very troubled and aggressive and not a healthy relationship, as now he's speeding away from the police, which I'm sorry that if that's prompting Gabby to be like, stop, what do you pull out? Like all of this now, the lens of everything changes the more we know, to know that he was in that car trying to get away, to sort of storm off, it seems. And then she's telling him to pull over or whatever it is, hits the curb. Officer's like, whoa, what the hell's going on here? Sirens are on.
Correction, speed limit is 15.
Now you see when the sirens went on. Now, I guess he could have had the lights on and not the sirens.
I'm about 3/4 of a mile into the arches, just before the gate.
When the sirens go on is also an important part of the clue, because as Brian gets pulled over, he talks about the sirens being why he was speeding, driving away so erratically. So now the story changes too. Now that we actually look at this with newer, fresher eyes on Brian, and knowing that Gabby had witnesses said Gabby was getting hit by him. This infuriates me, Steph. I want to narrate this so you guys understand what this all implicates. But Steph, just to get into your thoughts as well, are you following me, Samara? Am I missing anything? Is this angering you as much as it's angering me?
So the bit that I'm learning new here is that before they even pull over, Brian Laundrie is trying to evade the police.
Yes.
He's trying to drive off, and they get into a little bit of a speeding chase between them and the police. Is that my understanding?
I mean,
correct
he's
there?
going 45 in a 15. So
Okay, so speeding. Yeah.
Speeding.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
if he's evading. If we're in a car chase per se, but he's caught speeding. It's unclear. I imagine the lights maybe went on, but he just flipped the sirens when the guy hit the curb and is now trying to get him.
Right. Okay.
He hits the cones or whatever, or the curb, and now he's pulled over up here on this this turnoff. Now,
You want to place your vehicle into park and go ahead and turn it off for me?
what's also it's so hard to watch this now, guys, but he's so nervous. He's so apologetic. These are huge red flags sorry, I thought I had the video on. These are huge red flags as he's just sort of immediately defensive. And granted, they're in the middle of a fight. They both are. But again, knowing this all and knowing any pullover, you can't just assume what you're being told even by these two is what's happening, is what the sad reality is.
No, park.
Oh, it isn't park yet.
Okay,
I want
go ahead
to
and
just
turn
watch
it
the
off.
walk up again.
Sorry, officer.
You want to place your vehicle into park and go ahead and turn it off for me? No, park.
Oh, it isn't park yet.
Okay, turn off your engine.
So
Go
it's
ahead and set
another
your
thing that's
keys
interesting
on
to
the
me,
dash.
Steph, that I think
All right?
everyone ignored, and myself included. I'm
guys'
guilty of it. That's why I want to adjust this. Like, if she was punching him, I'm only making assumptions, but if she's punching him, why would she be crying? Do you know what I mean? Like, the more and more you realize and look at this, but it's like, it seems like she's emotional for reasons of like, she's been pushed to a place. Do you know what I'm saying? And so when I see it as how calm and collected he is, and she's the one who's distraught, and knowing that she's been being hit, according to the witnesses, again, it's just another sign that I feel like we should be looking for moving forward, of she's really emotionally, caught. What do you disagree? I see. Correct me if you want. Is that something that we shouldn't be looking at?
Kinda. I can see why you'd be jumping to that conclusion, but I mean, there's been many a time, to be fair, where I've been emotional, crying, and punching at the same time. I had a few anger management issues when I was younger. Not anymore. But, I was in hysterics and I was punching this, that, and the other. So
Defensively
it is quite
or
plausible.
offensively?
Both. But it is quite plausible in the state that Gabby Petito was in at the time that she could have been punching back, let's say, because we've got witnesses saying that Brian Laundrie was hitting her. She could have easily been emotional, crying, all that lot, and tried to punch back defensively in that way, in that state that you see her in. So, yeah, don't just necessarily assume, she's in that state. She ain't. She's not punching at all. No,
and to be clear,
crying could mean that she's angry crying.
Right.
And she's in such a state angry-wise that she's going to lash out.
Yeah. No,
defense.
I meant more like now that the cops are here. I don't know. Just it feels like she's stuck in something. So all right, but I see comments, and that's why I'm glad we have this conversation, because it's hard to know, and these officers need to be more careful, because again, one instinct you have of like, well, it seems like she's crying. She must be, isn't correct. We need to be more careful in these types of situations to figure out what to actually look for, including myself, all of us, to make sure we do. And that's why these police officers need better training to make sure we go. And please be respectful in the chat. We can all disagree and we can have conversations here, but that's what the point of these are, is to make sure we're sort of comparing the facts of what's going on. But here, I'm playing.
Names.
Gabby.
Brian.
Gabby, Brian. Okay. What's going on? How come you're crying?
I'm sorry, we've just been fighting this morning. Some personal issues.
It was a long day. We were camping yesterday, and camping got the stuff, flies and stuff. I'm sorry I hit the bump there.
I was distracting him from driving. I'm sorry.
Can I get you to step out of the vehicle for me, man?
Yeah.
Just hang tight right there. Do you mind if I take your keys and just put them on your hood?
You got it, buddy. I'm so
Thank
sorry.
you. Oh, no, you're fine.
And the more we know about Brian, and the more he's so sorry. So he apologizes about 500 times, Steph, which to me, again, defensive move.
I'm going to go ahead and close your door, okay? Why don't you come over here?
So we've watched this a bunch. I don't want to get into the depth of it, but what's so heartbreaking about this whole portion is she's clearly distraught, right, Steph? There's clearly more to this story than either party is presenting. And you got to remember, what's so important about why we're watching this again is the witnesses said he was hitting her. He was hitting, not she was hitting him. He was hitting her. So you got to get that intel coming in, and then you see this woman who's having a breakdown. She's emotional, and for some reason it pivots. It pivots from, okay, well, did he hit you? And now maybe this officer didn't get the dispatch call, right? Maybe that's important enough for us to understand. The other guy who comes in and tells him this, and that's why things went differently. But this is what the problem is. How did the other call? How did they not all hear it on the same radio? Is what I'm frustrated by. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is a small police department, Steph. But she goes on. We've watched this. I don't want to keep going. But this is minutes later. She goes on and explains. We've been having trouble. I just want to play the first minute.
Some days I have really bad OCD, and I was just cleaning and straightening up the back of the van before, and I was apologizing to him and saying, I'm sorry that I'm so mean, because sometimes I have OCD and sometimes I just get really frustrated, not like mean towards
Dude, I saw the back of that van, Steph. I don't think she was being mean. That thing was a disgusting train wreck of a mess. So it doesn't surprise me that she's trying to like clean up the house. They get in a fight. Did he hit her is really what's most important here. But she's clearly trying to clean, and she's making up with the whole, I'm so sorry, I'm mean. She keeps apologizing for herself.
him. I just like,
Something that's very common, Steph, correct, in abusive relationships, especially where the victim will sometimes apologize for their abuser, is a common thing that you have to be careful of here as she keeps doing this.
my vibe is like, I hear me like in a bad mood.
She's talking about her bad mood, but the one I was trying to get is,
What do you do for a living?
she does. I don't want to keep playing, it's so emotional for me too. She keeps talking about how he doesn't support what she's doing and all this stuff. There's so much negativity aimed at him, mixed with the fact that he knew that he was the aggressor. All of this changes as you watch it, and so it makes me. Sorry, someone rude in the comments. You're just hidden when people are rude to my guests or me. It just makes me really angry as I rewatch this now with this lens, knowing for sure that the dispatch called these officers to tell them this. And when you rewatch the audio, or at least when I rewatch this video now and I see her reacting the way she does it, Steph, I want to come to you for your thoughts next. But as I react to the video now, it's completely different for me. And I feel like these officers who heard that she was hit and seeing how she reacted should have known better than just assume, well, because she was defensively hitting him back or saying that, and just because he had some scratches on his face, doesn't mean that there was more going on here. Why didn't they push more and ask her, does he hit you? Why didn't they try to have someone there professionally talk to her and say, Gabby, look, it's okay. It's important. If he's doing that, you need to tell us. Are you in an abuse? Like, there was nothing. No one attempted once to like push to like, are you sure about this story? You have a chance. They had a female there, the ranger. Like, if I was the cop, I'd be like, look, she's very emotional. But perhaps you can go speak to her and try and see if there's more we're missing here. I'd be grateful if you can go try. Would you mind? I'm sure she would have, right, Steph? There were so many things that I feel like these officers could have done better to handle this that could have potentially stopped this whole tragedy in the first place, because we caught them in a moment where he was aggressively hitting her. We have texts apparently from the mother who has confirmed they've been having this tumultuous relationship for a long time. Granted, the cops didn't know that at the time. I understand that. But here, the cops have stopped them after an abuse complaint. And this is what they did? Oh, yeah, my wife's like this, Steph. Oh, yeah, my wife has anxiety issues. Yeah, I can relate. You know, she's just got to blow off some steam. Oh, it makes me so sad and frustrated now knowing they knew it. Sorry, I want to rant, but Steph, I want to come to you for your thoughts too. But this news to me changed a lot today, and I wanted to make sure we discussed it. What are your thoughts on this audio, and then the follow-up, knowing that this was so quickly after the body cam, how these officers proceeded to, treat her?
They failed. They failed in their duty to serve and protect. It is as simple as that when it comes to this incident. It is very, very common for victims to lay the blame on themselves. Oh, it was my fault that this situation arose because I just wanted the back of the van to be tidy. It was my fault. Oh, it was my fault because I was distracting him from driving. Okay. But does that warrant him reacting to you in that way? No. It's his fault, not her fault. The fact of the matter is, something that I've heard is that when it comes to domestic disputes, a lot of police officers, or at least some of them, let's say, don't like them. Don't like those incidents. It can get messy. It can get complicated. It can be, as far as they're concerned, a pain in the backside. The way that these officers, dealt with this situation, it was a case of just take the easy way out. Okay, so she's the one that's actually admitting blame and whatnot. Do you know what? Fine, it's her fault. She's saying it's her fault, so do you know what? We're going to say, yeah, it's Gabby's fault because she said it. Technically, we've got it on the body cam, so we can get away with it because she said it's all her fault, this, that, and the other. And we're not going to question it further because she is literally saying it's her fault. She's the aggressor, blah, blah, blah. No, they took the easy way out. They should have known. They should have seen the signs. Don't police. I presume it must be different between state to state, because I know that by state, when I can get my teeth back in, state by state, there are different laws in America. But training wise, don't the police force in America have some sort of training to be able to deal with domestic disputes and violence like this, whereby they can actually effectively root out who the victim actually is, because it's not so obvious. And what the cops did here was they thought it was obvious and it wasn't. And they really did not see the signs at all and took the easy way out. Isn't there any training that they do? Because they're lacking here.
They definitely need more training. I mean, all officers, we apparently all do, because, look, I can't even imagine. It's hard being an officer. You're stuck in that you're thrusted in that situation, that very highly emotional situation. You have her taking, her saying she did it, right? Pretty much she's sort of acknowledging, yeah, I was pushing. But it's clear sometimes people do that to not have them be arrested because they're still not ready to sort of come forward with their own evidence. You got to remember here, guys, neither Brian nor Gabby called is what's the difference here. Brian didn't call saying Gabby's abusing me, because there's a lot of people who are still like, no, she hit him. Guys, at no point did Brian make this the issue, right? This wasn't a Brian calling the police because I'm in an abusive relationship. This was a witness seeing him hit her. That's what's so important, that we distinguish this. Now, I see some people in chat like, well, the witness changed the statement or whatever. Again, the witness and the caller, from everything I've gathered, including Brian Ettenden report, we have not had anybody confirm this. They are different people. There was a call in a different county, and then there was a witness that was there, and then there was a call, someone who called in. Now, if this is the same person and the 911 caller who we heard on the audio later changed their story, I'd like to get more information. Now I'm just like, what, huh? What, why? Because we have a 911 call that clearly says from a 911 caller, not the witness they always speak about. The 911 caller is very clear about what they see in the hitting. The dispatch tells the officers this. Even if they change the story, they did it in 2 minutes. That's what I'm trying to figure out. When did that happen? We need more information because this is important for not just obviously this case and Gabby's legacy and remembering her and making sure we get accountability for these officers that did wrong. This may not change the outcome, sadly. Of course, who knows? I'm not trying to say that, but I think it's incredibly important that these officers face accountability for this, just so we can ensure that future officers, etc., have the proper training in the future to make sure this type of stuff doesn't happen. That's what this is all about. And so it's frustrating to me that we still don't even know. Are there 2 witnesses? Are there 1? Wait, why'd they change? We're now almost weeks away from all of this. And this is easy stuff that the Moab police, the Utah police could help us adjust to really, put this to nip this in the bud and put it to bed. And we start. There's an investigation happening, but who knows how long that'll take, or if people will stop being if this story will stop being in the spotlight. But all of this is just incredibly frustrating to get this morning. That audio changed a lot for me, and I wanted to make sure we all could talk in more depth and hear your thoughts and get what you think. And again, if anybody can find, or if someone, we can keep pushing the Moab Utah Police Department to confirm or deny how many witnesses were there. Why can't the reporters find that out? Because it's redacted. So we can't call the witness and say, were you the one who told us that filled this out? Hey, caller, you're the one who called and you're the one who... Call the guy. You have his number. It was redacted. Don't they? I'm sure somewhere that's not redacted. I don't actually know how that works. If somebody knows how the 911 dispatch works, I would imagine there's an unedited version somewhere that's not sent to the media or that's not released to the public. That there's an unedited version somewhere in the department that could easily go answer this for us. So I really want to figure this out because it's bugging me. When I hear that audio, it breaks my heart because it makes me wonder, well, what could we have done? What could we have done differently to try and solve this? And hopefully it make a difference in the future. There's go ahead, Steph. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, so I'm not going to mention the last name, but I've been keeping an eye on the inbox. Christine sent us an email to Popcorn Planet team, and she sent us a screenshot, and she says, part of the body cam, you can tell that they're very hesitant and inconclusive as to what this next step should be. They're attempting to pass the buck, avoiding responsibility. And then listen stroke read what is said while they're huddled together. And then that's all that I've got. But
I look at this, this shot right here. Yeah, there is a moment.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's very clear. It's true. It's very clear. There's a moment where he's like, "Look, do what you want to do. If they find themselves again, it is what it is." And honestly, I mean, I don't know. Is that the wrong thing to do? What are they supposed to do? You can't just someone makes a dispute and then you put them both in jail? No. I mean, there is a reality here of like, without anyone speak. What would be helpful is if they could have just gotten an expert to speak to her, or even just another female and being more involved in trying to push. Like, are you okay? Hey, Gabby, are you okay? That would have been very telling to know, because that could have changed things, right? That could have put her in the hotel room and pushed him away further. And then you need to call your family or something to just sort of, maybe that was a life event that could have triggered her more, that the cops or someone was able to speak to her. I don't know. I like to think that might have helped, but who knows, Steph? We can't play what if too long.
True. But what that shows for me is more evidence that these officers were not trained or well equipped to actually be able to deal with this situation in the first place. When you go into any kind of domestic event, and I don't mean it to be like in an arrogance kind of way, but there has to be a confidence. There has to be right, we're here, we're going to assume control of the situation, and we're going to get it sorted out. The cops are here now. We're going to sort this out. We're going to bang your heads together, so to speak, and get this done. But instead, they weren't active in terms of trying to sort out that event, that situation between them. Instead, they were passive. That there lies the problem. They were too passive. So they just accepted everything that went on. There was no critical thinking behind it in terms of the evidence and what they were hearing from both Brian and Gabby. They just took it on board and just was like, right, we'll just roll over, believe you both, and on your way you go. Yeah, very passive rather than active. That's the problem.
Sharon, I just got your email. Yeah, the female ranger did seem to talk to, but the ranger has also come forward and said that she's had sort of regrets and she's really had trouble with it of wishing things had been done differently in that case. And you can tell she's talking to him briefly, but then there's a moment where the other officers and she sort of backs up and lets them do their thing because I think she was a park ranger or something. I don't think she was an officer, a police officer. I don't want to disparage the ranger or I don't know what the levels of people are, obviously, but she was not in charge of the situation, obviously. I don't think they were giving her any charge of the situation. We got a call. I got an email from a Bethany who says she has a similar story that she went through with the police. I did send you the Zoom link, Bethany. If you're still watching and you want to zoom in and share that story, by all means, you're welcome to give us insight on what it was like for you. I'm happy to help be a venue for you to share that story if you'd like to. The Zoom has just been sent. Cite for both and DV, no contact or court for 30 days. Yeah, that's Sharon saying there were options that I guess you could do. I don't know the Utah laws, but people are sending us some information about options the officers could have done. Again, just more evidence, right, that this wasn't handled properly. And again, who knows what could happen if they did this right. But it frustrates me. It frustrates me that they didn't do the right thing here, especially knowing that the dispatcher was told. Now, if there's something that we don't know where the dispatcher, the same person who called is the same person who was the witness, did change their story suddenly and then said, well, no, he was hitting her. She was hitting him. Okay, then I could see the way they did it, and I have less problems, and then the investigation would prove that everything was okay. I think that's a very quick thing we can sort of do of like, look, if the officers were... Steph, I'm curious your thoughts. If the officers were told he's hitting her, and that's what they went into with a mentality, and she did everything she did, do you fault them as much in that scenario?
Repeat the question again, because I don't quite get that.
If the officers were told, if the other officer got that, the dispatch call, whatever, got the information, the dispatch calls and they say, no, we actually just spoke to the witness. They actually took back. He didn't see him hitting each other. She was hitting him, trying to get back in the car. And that's the and they've now don't have any evidence that he was an abuser to her. Do you give them any less slack then if that's the case?
Oh, so if the witness changed the story and said, oh no, it wasn't Brian hitting Gabby, it was the other way around.
Correct.
If we look at it from that perspective, what would we think? Again, I would actually be saying the same thing because the cops would be acting in the same complete passive manner as they've done right now without any critical thinking or without any questioning to try and actually dig beneath the surface of what's actually going on. Because 99.9% of the time when there's a DV situation, what's on the surface ain't actually what's going on. You've got to go underneath to really find out the meat and potatoes, the actual truth of the situation. So if the caller then turns around and says, oh, actually, it was a mistake. It was actually Gabby going against Brian, and the cops went to that scene and was still passive, I would still be highly critical of those cops anyway because of that. Because again, it's really coming down to a case of they're not there to serve and protect. They're just there to be passive. It's like, oh, can't be bothered. We'll just take on board what you're saying to us, and that's it. We can't be bothered digging any further because DV situations are a pain in our backside. The more hassle than the worth. Blah blah blah. We can tell them to stay away from each other, but you know what? They'll get back together, and the cycle continues. So anything that we do as cops ain't gonna do shiz because we're just peeing in the wind at this stage. So it's just a waste of time for us to try and do anything actually meaningful because they're just going to stick together anyway and it's not going to do out. It's like that self-defeatist attitude kind of thing that they may have as well in terms of their involvement won't really do much anyway for the long term, any good. So might as well just keep their actions to a minimum, keep their efforts and energy to a minimum and just move on as quick as possible.
Well, just some of the chat. It's true. I had so much trouble reading this that I'll be honest. I never really could read. It was hard for me to read the writing, but I just did it while Steph was talking. And there's a very crucial part as he explains all this. At 4:30, I arrived at Moonflower while standing on the south side of the street. This is the witness, mind you, guys. I observed a man and woman appear to have some sort of dispute. They were talking aggressively at each other, and something seemed off. At one point, they were sort of fighting over a phone. I think the male took the female's phone. It appeared that he didn't want her in the white van. He got into the driver's side, and she followed him. So he took her phone. This is now from the witness, takes her phone and then jumps in the van and is leaving. She followed him. At one point, she was punching him in the arm and he trying to get rid of him. Page 2, she eventually climbed in over him and overtook the passenger seat. I heard her say, "Why do you have to be so mean?" I wasn't sure how serious this was. It was hard to tell if they were sort of play fighting, but from my point of view, something definitely didn't seem right. It was as if the guy was trying to leave her and maybe take her phone. Not sure, but wanted to help out. I noticed another person had called this in, and as I left the store, I noticed a police officer and gave him my contact info. So there you go. There were 2 witnesses, and there it is. The 911 caller, I imagine, is that second person who he saw calling it in to confirm that there's now at least 2 witnesses who did it. And when you actually read the statement, which I had trouble reading, I sort of read summaries, it's even more depressing when you realized, he stole her phone, allegedly all this, from this, according to this witness, they're talking aggressively, they're fighting, and fighting over a phone. He took the phone. It appeared that he didn't want her in there. She was punching him in the arm, so he was trying to get rid of and trying to get rid of and trying to get into the van. So she was punching him because he's driving off without leaving her in the middle of a God knows where they are, right? Moonflower, without her phone. He's literally trying to leave her there stranded without her phone. And so she's punching. That's okay. She can punch him in the arm at that point. To me, that this is absurd to leave her alone like that. I wish she almost had, and she could have just moved on with her life. But in this instance, this isn't an aggressor. Why was he leaving? Why did we ask that question? You know what I mean, Steph? If they had this witness report, which maybe they didn't have right away, but at some point they sat there for an hour. You take this in, you let him sit, let him stew, come back and say, all right, it looks like did you take her phone, sir? Why were you driving away from her? And when they do sort of get that from him, they are like, yeah, my wife's a bitch too. It's sort of how it felt, Steph. It was like, yeah, women, they're so naggy and emotional, right, dude? It's cool, man. You're not in trouble. It's really disturbing now when you really go back and actually piece all this evidence together, how in the wrong these officers were.
Absolutely. And it comes down to the fact that, yeah, she may have been punching him in the arm, but dude was trying to take her phone and allegedly leave her in the middle of nowhere. This was not her punching him, in my opinion. This was not her punching him in the arm to kind of I've got to be careful with my words, for DV purposes, let's put it that way, right? For me, it feels like she's trying to punch him in the arm, as in she's trying to claw her way back into the van.
Correct.
Like, it's a survival instinct then at that point, because she knows he's trying to take away her phone and leave her in the middle of nowhere, completely stranded, with no way of getting help whatsoever very easily. So her punching him in the arms, not to me a DV situation as such. It's more, she's still the victim. She's trying to fight her way back in to survive. Even though he may not be punching her at that point, at the end of the day, he is still the DVer in that scenario, even though there's no physicalness coming from him. There's the mental DV then that's going on here, as far as I'm concerned. So this whole statement saying, she was, hitting him in the arm, on the face of it, the cops would be like, oh, well, just as bad as each other. Screw it. But no, only takes a couple of seconds. What I've just done, only takes a couple of seconds to think beneath the surface and think, well, hang on a minute. Why? There you go. So, yeah.
Yeah, people, it's Gabby's van. I guess they co-own? I think they were both owners of the van, or they were both in the title of the van. I think I read that. I need to confirm that. But yeah, the fact that he was trying to strand her in the middle of that moonflower spot is really, really distressing. Super, super distressing. And so I wanted to make sure we cover that in depth. And I appreciate you guys who sent the comments. Let me make sure I get through these comments before we move on to another topic and compare the rest of the news here. Thank you, Shy. My stepfather is a detective in a state in the U.S. And yes, you can get that redacted information, as the devices would need all the information that was provided during all steps of the process. That's what I figured. So thank you, Shy, for alerting us. Fictitious, thank you, Faticus. Sorry, I don't know how to say that, but thank you for the super chat. Mercy for USA. What bothers me, the officers, upon approaching the van while talking to dispatch, mentioned possible intoxication. No sobriety test. Wow. Yeah, I mean, when you see him, I don't get the vibe he's drunk then, but yeah, he's driving erratically. You could be driving angrily and all over, but yeah, it's a good point, Mercy, why they could have at least done that, to sort of ask first thing you do while you're giving him the drug test, maybe have that female ranger really get him more in detail. Maybe she's not trained to do that. I don't know. But good point, Mercy. Kathy Gonzalez, what's up? Good to see you again, Kathy. Thank you for being here. All your support has been incredible on these streams. The police officers demonstrated that so-called locker room mentality, behavior talk. We need to get rid of that and start educating our young men so they don't turn out like that Brian piece of... It's true. It's true. I think a lot of us, myself included, I fell for that video. I watched it and I'm like, well, yeah, this is the information we have. This is why they did it. And the reality is that may have been the information why they had and why they sort of were just taking it the way they were. But it just shows we do need better training worldwide on knowing abuse when accusations come in. And this wasn't even like she or he made those accusations. When witnesses are saying it, multiple witnesses, you'd think in order to make sure you get the right information, pause and call and get the information. All right, can I see the report? It's weird to me that the officers just immediately went and just sort of sided with him and let him go. Without really like sort of taking a moment to like gather. I know when I'm pulled over for a freaking speeding, they go sit in their car for 15, 20 minutes to look me up, get some information, make me sit there, right? It's weird. They didn't sort of do that too. Separate them, make him wait, do a sobriety test, wait for more people to arrive. Small town, a lot of things they could have done better in this situation that they didn't. But thank you for that, Kathy. Lost in Oz became a member. Thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate you guys trying to build a little community here and trying to break down the news with you guys, get you more involved, call in, etc. So I appreciate your support as you guys continue to watch us. Help find Kimberly Ramber. I'll have to look into that case for you. She did the help hand signal to the cop when he is taking the keys out. You can see it. Is there a help?
This is where it gets a little bit tricky in terms of signals, this, that, and the other, because believe it or not, secret signals to illuminate to people in authority or people outside the situation that you need help without actually alerting the DVer still aren't that well known amongst victims. They're really, really not. Now, I can only assume, but I've been in that kind of state before, okay? I freely admit that, right? I see a lot of, and I'm not making it about me, please don't be what is it, but I do see in that scenario a lot of me and her in terms of what I've been like in the past with my issues and all that lot, right? Now, when you are in that kind of mental state, rationality kind of goes out of the window. You don't think clearly. You really, really have to think clearly enough to kind of send out that secret signal in the first place. Otherwise, a rationality and emotion kind of flood in, and kind of block your brain from thinking, hang on a minute, I need to do a secret signal. And it kind of overrides everything. So I think the secret signal that you're seeing there...
Is that it right there? What is the secret signal?
Well, whatever the audience is thinking is a secret signal, I'll tell you right now, chances are 99.9% it's not a secret signal. It's just a coincidence kind of situation. It's not that at all, because there's been there's chatter with one of the last text messages of that Stan that was a secret signal because it's an acronym for DV victims, but it could easily just mean Stan as in a grandfather, you know. So I think it might be a case, sadly here, guys, in my opinion, that you're looking into that way too much.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not that at all.
We just watched it twice. I don't even see it. I don't know what it is, but if you want to email or send us another chat so I can find it and look more clearly, I don't know what the help symbol is, and I didn't see one. She makes some sort of broad hand things that could have been anything. But not only did we don't know if she was making that signal, she made us move her hands. We don't know if the officer was trained to know those signals. I agree with, we're probably looking into that. Kathy, Canada Kathy, we need mental health workers riding with every cop. Mental health is a growing problem in North America. People are not getting the help they need. Gabby was a victim of the police, as well as Brian. Yeah, I mean, that'd be amazing. It's hard to get that training all over in every cop car. You know what I mean? It's as nice as that would be. We could at least have more experts, though, available on call, right? In certain situations would be helpful, or at least bring him in and have the health officer at the cop, station be one to question to make sure that everything's okay. I could see that becoming problematic too, though, in situations where there isn't any abuse, but there's yelling. There could be a lot of that could start making things a lot more complicated. But yeah, I don't know the solve is, Kathy, but that's one idea from Kathy. Jolene, what's up, Jolene? As a person who works in EMS, my dispatch sometimes doesn't get the call correct. So usually dispatch is taken very lightly. Now, this is an ambulance perspective. Cops could be different. Interesting, Jolene. Thank you for that insight, actually. Clearly, they didn't take the dispatch seriously here, because I don't even know if they got it, and he just sort of ignored it and said, oh, yeah. Now, unless the story changed, the witness mentions there was another person calling, so I'm left to assume that's a different person. Again, it'd be great if the officers would confirm it, but maybe that's why they haven't, Steph, because they're like, we don't know. Which is even worse and scarier. Larissa, happy Monday. Thanks, Andy and Steph, for doing all the work on this topic. And Free Brittany. Yes, Free Brittany will be live Wednesday, going through all that coverage, so hopefully to see you join us as well there. That's going to be a big day. Thank you thanks for bringing all the facts, keeping us informed. You're welcome, Larissa. Appreciate you supporting the stream. And then we had a couple more while I was talking before we pivot to another story. RF, and thank you guys for sending over the support. We'll go through them all real quick. Someone who's a member now for 6 months, Jay McCarthy. Welcome, Jay McCarthy. Sometimes when you're a member long enough, they give you a spotlight comment, so I try to catch those. DV is such a serious problem that no one takes seriously. I don't get how the cops immediately choose sides. At least treat them both the same. It's true. Any man who's going to disagree and be like, no, all the women are always lying. Okay, but even in that situation, we should pause either way. To make sure we're getting all the information, the evidence, whatever we can do to sort of make the right call. I think we should all do this. It makes total sense. So thank you for that. RF also said thank you for the amazing coverage in Brittany's case, debunking the fake news, respecting the victims, and going in details about the facts. Others treat them like cash grabs, but not you. Thank you, RF. We try. Look, I could sit here all day and start doing crazy videos about the stupidest theories, but I don't want to do that. I feel like a live stream, we can get into some of that. I know because and I can debunk it for you. But yeah, I don't want to make this that. I want to make this a discussion. I want to try and find some more cases to put into these streams as well as we move forward. And Steph and I are looking into that to help bring you guys more coverage and more news. But yeah, we don't just talk Gabby. We do some other important stuff. So thank you for supporting that, RF. The Brittany case is the other big story right now that I think a lot of people have pivoted from or ignored because of this Gabby coverage. And I implore you, don't. That new Controlling Brittany documentary is horrifying. and as more details come out. And there are some. The CNN just did a documentary, Steph, and I haven't had a chance to watch it. I was going to rush it in, but I saw a lot of Britney fans saying, "Well, that was just a cash grab. They offered nothing and just did a boring recap." And so Netflix, there's a whole bunch. I kind of want to pivot and talk a little bit about the Netflix Britney drama. I may do that in a little bit, but there's all this rumor now that Sam Asghari, her boyfriend, is connected to Lou Taylor. I saw a whole thread that I was like, blew my mind. And now he's trying to discredit the Netflix documentary because many people think they're going to go after Lou Taylor. I'm Britney fans who are watching me, I'll try and get into that at some point because there's a lot going on there. But the Netflix documentary debuts tomorrow night. We'll be live Wednesday to break all the Britney news down. We'll talk about the documentary as well. We'll be live from the trial there in Beverly Hills. So thank you, RF.
May I just add as well, in regards to the coverage on Popcorn Planet, we are also big, massive supporters of the Justice for Johnny Depp movement as well. And Andy has done a lot of coverage on that as well, and brings it to you straight. So yeah, there's a few that Popcorn Planet are on at the moment, and we're looking at doing more.
Yeah, I actually have a pretty big scoop on that story soon that I'm still vetting, but stay tuned on the Johnny news. There's more, but just saying his name immediately limits a whole guys. I literally saying Johnny's name in a stream limited. YouTube doesn't share the video. Like right now, this stream is limited right now. Typically these streams would skyrocket, but it's limited right now because of the topic. You're seeing it happen right now. And it's not because, I'm not trying, it's not a jealousy or anything. I'm noticing the platform absolutely holds back when these topics are discussed, which is really frustrating because we're not doing it in a salacious or dangerous way at all. In fact, I think this is a very important, respectful way we're covering it to make sure it gets out there. And this platform just doesn't care. Just the subscribers are getting alerted and it's not being shared as widely because it has a yellow stamp on, so YouTube can't monetize it. And that's what happens. And literally videos on Johnny Depp do the same thing. So a lot of the coverage you see on here just needs your help. So I will do a plug. Hit the subscribe button if you can, and smash the alert bell there for all alerts because that helps. It's supposed to let you know, but I'm told even then you might not even get alerted. And leave a comment down below. Best way is supposed to be to join. So that way at least you get notified more, super notified. You're supposed to. But that's the problem we have here when we hit some of these topics. So thank you for that stuff. And then we had a couple more really quick, and then we'll go to another topic. Kathy Gonzalez, she said it. They had been fighting all morning. More likely, she had been taking a beating all morning. That's what I'm sadly worried about, Kathy. And they just didn't ever consider that in their sort of positioning just because she never really admitted to hitting. She sort of was like, yeah, I pushed him away. I was distracted. She was always justifying the defense she was doing against him. And then no one ever pushed or prodded to make sure, like, are you okay? And to him, they sort of just like, well, she says she's hitting you. Wow, sorry, bro. Yeah, bitches be crazy, huh? And it's really angering to watch that now. Ambra, thank you for becoming a member as well, Ambra. I really appreciate it. So welcome. And then John Curtis, flies were buzzing around her stuff all morning and caused her a meltdown. Brian's testimony. Yeah, well, that would get me going too, Steph. If I'm in the back of living in a van where we're sleeping and there's flies and weird shit all over the van because he's just a complete mess, I can see that starting fights, justifiably. Stacey J, they should have immediately separated them and immediately questioned them hard about exactly what happened. No feelings. Tell me what happened. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if how hard you do it, but yeah, your intent is correct. Thank you, Stacey. John Curtis. Campsite was infested with flies and put Gabby in a slappy mood. I've seen it many times. Well, I don't like that terminology. You don't know. You weren't there, John. In a slappy mood. Dude, the witnesses says he did it. So you're just going to defend him, John? What is this weird way you said that? So you just think she's the aggressor here? There's no way that he didn't do anything? This man who came home after not telling anybody that she's gone, who didn't want to care about her family or his fiance's well-being, that he's the one who's the victim here. Is that what you're trying to say, John? I just want to make sure I understand before I get unhinged and come at you a little harder. Please confirm or deny that that's what your intent is with that question, because I don't like the tone. JJ, Steph, not to go off topic, but we all just saw a mouse walk across your bookshelf near the mask. It's impossible because it's a still, isn't it?
It's a green screen, guys.
Jesus.
I'm happy that you're trying to get me on that because you didn't even notice it was a green screen. So that's good. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, they bought it. I
bought it.
I just dislike because I know it's not your real nerd stuff. I'm like, and you're obsessed with Silence of the Lambs back there. You got 3 of them.
I do like Silence of the Lambs.
You have 3 Silence of the Lambs back there, so I guess you look like a true crime person. There, that's good.
Yeah.
You got V for Vendetta. Yeah, she just found a good. It looks like it's your house, and it looks cool. But I sorry, I didn't mean to spoil it. That is Steph's house. John.
Yeah, it's
it's totally hers. It's a still of her house. Campsite was infested with flies. Steph. Not. We saw that, and then John. Oh, John's back with all the bodies around the campsite. The fly infestation has gotten out of control. John, come on, it's not funny. I read it just because I wasn't sure, but that's not why. So I don't know what your goal is here, but you can go troll elsewhere. Okay, man. Thanks, buddy. Just not a cool time to joke about it. I thought I'm opposed to joking.
Log off.
But yeah,
bye.
Thank you, Steph.
Laters. Shut the front door on the way
you can
out.
Say whatever you want.
Because we ain't here for that kind of BS, dude.
The wrong
Sorry.
tone right now. Now, if we were talking about Dog the Bounty Hunter, of course, bring the jokes all day. But I'm not going to have jokes about Gabby on this channel. So Steve, just Jared reported that Sam Asghari's statement, "I don't trust a thing they as they own TMZ." Yeah, maybe Steve. We can look into Britney stuff at a certain point. I do need to do an update, but we'll definitely cover all of that on Wednesday. So come in Wednesday. Wednesday's a Britney day. We'll be doing that around 4 p.m. I need to get the link. I'll show it to you guys in a second. The link for that stream. Oh, I have it right here. It's on copy Britney stream. There you go. It's in the chat. And it's going to be 3 p.m. That's what we decided. We're pre-show at 3 p.m. And we'll be live for several hours trying to get some experts. If you're a Britney fan or someone who's really into the case, Britney stans, everybody, let me know. Reach out to me now. I'm looking for more guests to book for that day because we got several hours to fill because I know there will be some downtime as we wait to hear from the court. So I want to try and update you guys with all the Britney updates, do some Britney talks, do some more stuff there. So if anybody wants to come in, I got some experts lined up, psychologists lined up, lawyers, counselors. A lot of people will be calling into the show. So if you want to be involved in that, let me know. It should be an important day for Britney fans, and I want to make sure we cover it right. Christopher Melcher will be there live from the courthouse. Okay, yeah.
Before you... Sorry, did you want to...
I can wrap up this clip of the show. Yeah, but go ahead, Steph.
Before you pivot, because I felt like you were wrapping up, I've sent you a link, the last one in our WhatsApp. You might want to just let everyone know about. It's Gabby Petito's father sending a message at the memorial about women who are in not so very nice relationships. Just, hearing from him and what he has to say about it, I think is quite important.
Let's look at it. If there's a relationship that you're in that might not be the best thing for you, leave it now. Take care of yourself first, he told the woman at the funeral. Oh. Whew. True.
Yeah.
Emotional message, shared life advice for women in relationships as the again, let's just preface that. If there was a relationship that you're in that might not be the best thing for you, leave it now. Take care of yourself first. I would like you to take a look at these videos of Petito's travels, and I want you to be inspired by them. If there's a trip you guys want to take it now. Do it now while you have the time. Gabby is the most amazing person I'd ever met, so if you're going to leave her today, I'm asking that you guys be inspired by the way she treated people, all people. Oh, I'm trying not to cry. It's so sad. That's so sad.
Yeah.
The entire planet knows this woman's name. She's so true, guys. It's so spot on. Do it now. It's so true. Don't put it off. But wait, I want to do this, or I don't have enough money, or whatever it is you want to do. I want to have kids. I want to have a house. Do it. Don't put it off. I want to go travel the world. There's ways you can figure it out. Do it. I wanted to cover this whole memorial, but it was just so emotional. I just feel like it's just an odd place to go to cover all that. I mean, there's a lot of pieces out there, and there's some videos and stuff, but I didn't really want to seemingly exploit any of that content here. It feels like it's messy. I've seen some channels I've seen some channels, Steph, that are literally monetizing on her funeral tributes, which like sicken me. Joseph Morris. Yeah, I'm calling you out again, Joseph Morris. Literally, after I posted my video bashing that guy, ads were playing on his video, playing footage of Gabby at her, like that the funeral parlor had, that they were sharing. And him's like, here she is look how beautiful she is in the mountains of I want to slap that guy's face. It's so disgusting. And so many people are just blindly accepting and thinking what he's doing is good journalism. I'm sorry, guys, it's so skeevy. And it's really disrespectful, and I'm not gonna see that kind of shit here. But I do appreciate you sharing that quote, because that quote should be shared by Gabby's father. It's so true, and it's a perfect message to end on in this portion of the show. We do trim these shows to try and make the most important parts be shareable. Everything else that we're going to go through today isn't massively big or breaking. If big or breaking news does occur, we will share it to you. And if anything's massive, we will also clip portions from the show so you can watch them later. If you want to watch the full live streams, you can always become a member. Sometimes they're processing. You might catch them before they do. But again, if you become a member, I put all the unedited live streams so you can watch the calls, everything. So you can catch it all. But I appreciate you guys who have been supporting and watching. We'll be back. If you're watching live, don't go anywhere. We're not done yet, but I'm just clipping this sake for YouTube to keep the YouTube beasts at bay. An hour-long video is much more sustainable than a 3-hour video. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more. We're still live.